Alright guys, how's it going? So it's this week's Let's Talk, and to be honest, it's the last week of Let's Talk. I'm actually going to move this over to Patreon because, well, a lot of people don't want to see it, and there is a certain demographic that I believe like to hear me bitch and moan about the 3D industry. So rather than doing a Let's Talk every Saturday, I'm going to try and answer as many channel comments as possible, within a certain time limit, of course. Now, when it comes to channel comments, I don't ignore them, but sometimes I just can't answer them, and sometimes I actually miss them because they get held for review or they get blocked completely. Like if you put in a URL, there's a good chance YouTube will just hide the comment, and I don't get to see this. Now, when it comes to Let's Talk, I'll be putting these on Patreon. I'll give you a link in a couple of days. I do apologise if you enjoy them, but I think it's probably best overall just to kind of remove it from the YouTube channel. But however, as an apology, I'll be starting to do the news again, and I'm hoping to start this up on a Monday. I'm kind of busy with client work at the moment, so I'm juggling stuff about. And remember, Monday is Blender Royale Day. In fact, that's a good point. I might actually make the news Tuesday while I'm here. Anyway, so let's read these comments. That looks amazing, and this is from Gary, and he's talking about Massless Space. This is a new video that I released yesterday. Pretty good, to be honest. Does have a lot of potential. Now, I'm going to auto-respond to a lot of these while I'm here because, well, that's one of the features. Unfortunately, you have to pay for it now, and this is regarding Welder. Now, when I make an add-on video, I do apologise if it becomes commercial, but it really is out with my control. I'm not the developer. I just review the add-on. And sometimes I make mistakes when I'm reviewing the add-on as well, and new features get added all the time. Motion Trial 3D is slow but not clean. I think motion paths in Blender is a bit meh, especially if you use other software. It's kind of a bit, I don't know, to be honest. Thanks for the highlight. Would love for this to be initiated to Blender, and this is regarding the free scripts video that I made. Now, there's a great bunch of free scripts. Now, I know Zess here is actually having an issue installing these. Just make sure you're putting them in the scripts folder, mate. I don't know if they'll show up in 2.9, I don't know if they're just made for 2.8, so I'm not entirely sure. And the next one is, PS, the one I actually meant is Proxify add-on, which I now believe has been called Loadify. It's kind of merged into one, so that was the level of detail video. That's actually pretty cool, especially if you're swapping meshes around, so check that one out as well. And this one comes from the Playblast, and this is a really good add-on. In Maya it makes more sense, but in Blender you can do the same viewport render animation, and the developers actually came on and answered the question, and he's highlighted the fact that Playblast is actually better than the native render. Now, most developers generally write plugins for themselves. They miss something from another application, they think, well, I can implement that in Blender. But the developer goes on and he gives a really good explanation to why this add-on's actually a lot better. So it doesn't open the preview animation when the window is done, and that's one benefit already. When it rendered displays the render frame, which means extra calculations at GPU. So there is benefits, and thank you to developers for coming on and actually kind of pointing out the obvious. Now, I do make mistakes when I make add-on videos, and things change all the time and updates get made, and I generally have to deal with, I can't get this installed. Just read the documents. But anyway, cheers much, mate, for coming on. I subscribed for your voice but stayed for your content. Excellent, much appreciated, mate. Auto responded. How about rigging and weight painting? And this is for the Loadify plugin. I believe it actually transfers most of this data. I think it was actually made for rigging and animators, to be honest. So I'm not entirely sure, but when I did read the documents, it did say that it kind of transferred over it. How you would manage that, I'm not 100%, to be honest, because if you start changing things like vertex count and stuff like this, awesome. Thanks for the tip. No worries, mate. Happy to help. This is a pretty easy workaround for those who don't have to bake UVs. Now, baking in Blender is doable, it could be better, but again, this was from a Make a Proxy video. And this is Andreas. Andreas is a Blender Royale champion because I was making a website today and I was putting his name in more times than I probably should have. But he's going on about Blender Royale. Now, check us out, Blender Royale, every Monday, 9 PM UK time. And this is from Dawn. So on the portable zip, install with the config folder next to scripts. It appears it works. Now this is for customise your startup splash screen. Now again, things change all the time in Blender, so a video that I made 6 months ago might not be representable today. I did notice that you actually solved the problem, so cheers much. Sweet, don't know why many people fail to explain it just like this. That's because I'm a legend, mate. Kidding on. Well, thanks. Works even better than Blender 2.9, and this is a Z-Spheres tool. Now, if you've ever came from ZBrush, you'll miss Z-Spheres, and this kind of replicates it in Blender. It's pretty cool, to be honest. Straight to the point, no worries, mate. Scottish is even heavier than Indian. What do you want me to say to that? Anyone there from the Lightwave background? No, in Blender Royale, there's not many Lightwave users, to be honest. Is it possible to create a mesh to VDB level set as Lightwave? That is now, and this is a new feature in Blender. You can now go from mesh to VDB and VDB to mesh, and it's looking pretty good. If you can get nodal access to this, it'll be even better, because I know a lot of users are saying we need this in nodes so we can do stuff. Now, it's going to be a million miles away from Houdini, but it's a good start. Love the dancing cloud, no worries, mate, that was actually quite cool. Cool accent, cheers much. Interesting add-on. One of the things I wish Boxcutter had is a relative grid size and polygon being cut. Speak to the developer of Boxcutter. Now, Boxcutter and HardOps is one of the hardest applications to keep up with. The developer is constantly releasing new updates. Give the developer a tweet and there's a good chance you might get it. This is really helpful, no worries, mate. Can you do a video about swamps? Now, I don't know if that's because I'm Scottish and you've got Shrek who lives in a swamp. Donkey. But anyway, this is the shit I need to deal with. Hey Stephen, I stumbled over your video while I had a problem with the alpha mask animation. Now, there's a few different videos in terms of alpha masking, and it's kind of strange in Blender, to be honest. I think this adds onto your tutorial. Maybe you have a solution. I'm trying to animate the alpha mask. This is how it's solved. Can I add /mix with regular shader on top? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. If it's an animated alpha mask, you would just use an image sequence. Now, when you start to mix shaders on top, you're technically taking away from the value of black and white, so I'm not entirely sure. I kind of don't know what you mean, to be honest. Blender 3D is the best. That is pretty good. Message to dev: stop adding this to the left menu. There is a right menu for add-ons. The developers went, alright then, well done. Until you get text-to-speech, I will always watch your video. Cheers much, mate. A lot of people probably could do with text-to-speech for me. Neat add-on. I'm waiting for something like this to organise a bunch of my add-ons. Yeah, add-on management probably could be a little bit better in Blender. Now, I know the developer of Pi Menu Editor has a kind of add-on tool as well. You might want to check it out. I'm not entirely sure if it will solve your problem, but you can sort of manage add-ons a little bit better. I love your accent. I don't know why, but it just makes me relax. You're about the only person who thinks it's relaxing. This happens because Blender is using the whole keyboard as a native shortcut, and this is a script wheel commercial. Pretty cool add-on, to be honest, especially if you're using sculpting. And there was another add-on I reviewed, and it was the kind of Blender shortcuts. You press the B key and it brings everything up, and it can be used in sculpting as well. Symmetry bones, this worked perfectly. However, on the bones on the left side of the body actually affect the model is attached to it. Any idea how to fix this? You've probably screwed up your weight map. It's probably added maybe a left or a right and your weight maps are wrong. So just guessing, to be honest. This doesn't quite work in 2.9. There's nothing I can do about that. Quick and simple. Glad it helped, mate. I'll kind of skip the Let's Talk ones. Blender 2.8 build doesn't have this icon. Well, I believe you kind of solved that. Yeah, it does. Just one thing about videos now. I generally try and make the tutorials in 2.8, the long-term support version, but sometimes I will review 2.91 alpha features and things like that, just because it's good fun, to be honest. So yeah, just keep an eye on what version I'm using. I honestly don't know any real pros who offer their services in Fiverr, and this is when I was bitching about there's a problem on Fiverr with Blender users. Thank you very much. Great tutorial, and I love your accent. Cheers much, mate. Thanks, like it, bro. Keep up the work. No worries, mate. When I add the volume empty and then the modifier stack, there is nothing. Am I doing something wrong? I don't actually know, mate. That could be a bug. The video was pretty self-explanatory. You add in an empty, then you go to the volume modifier, and I don't honestly know, mate. It's kind of hard to judge reading the comment. Missing assign alphas to the brush tool could be. Walker Scottish Ranger. I'm a Celtic supporter, mate, not a Rangers supporter. Definitely going to have a play with this. Hope you enjoy it. as a cool effect looking forward. And that was a good tutorial, and it was instancing hair particles on and adding things like a collision object. Pretty tight tutorial, thank you Scott, no worries. And I thought only my ex-wife could see ghosts. I'm new to Blender. Is there any way to get that dancing figure? Yeah, most people use Maximal when you import the FBX file. And this is pretty much this week's comments. Now I could go on. I don't have any hell for review. Do me a favour guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Yeah, and that's another point, it's like 79% of the people who watch my video aren't subscribers. Don't be a lazy bastard, just hit that button. Turn on notifications as well, because I'm making maybe 2-3 videos a day at some point, so it's always good. Anyway, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter, support me on Gumroad. You know what to do.